Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Kiodiekin. Hope you guys are having a great day. And in today's video, I just wanted to kind of cover a few of the things that really impressed me about the Pi 4, the options that it presents, and just wanted to show you guys what it can offer for you for those of you guys still sitting on the fence wondering if you guys should get a Pi 4 or not. This is a typical question I see in a lot of the groups. A lot of people are still hanging on to their Pi 3s and too afraid to jump over and make the move. And for a lot of you guys out there who are still maybe unfamiliar with arcade emulation, I'm going to show you why the Pi 4 should be at the top of your list. Currently, I'm using a version of Supreme. This is called the Supreme Pro image. It is the latest version of Supreme in RetroPie 4 that has been released for the RetroPie community. There's already been a number of images out there. This is my personal one, but we're going to take a look at a few of the settings, a few of the core emulators, and show you guys why this is a great option for you. We're going to go into RetroPie setup. And we're going to go to manage packages. And we're going to look at manage experimental packages. Just want you guys to take a look at this really quick. You guys can see a number of the emulators that are installed. And I do believe with Supreme Pro, it is probably the most vast base build that's out with 93 core systems able to run on this. I believe it's 93. And let me just back out here for a second. I think I maybe missed something. Okay, we're going to go back to the main menu. All right, let's see everything there. Those are just some of the core packages that are already installed there for the emulators. So we're going to go back to manage experimental packages. Now, I'm not going to cover all of them, but I'm going to cover my personal favorite. And one of the reasons why you guys should eventually invest in getting a Pi 4 as far as emulation. Here are a number of emulators that typically run most of your games. You have Mame 2003 Plus, and I'm really going to focus on arcade because with console, it either runs or it doesn't. Arcade is a little tricky because with arcade, you have to associate a particular ROM with the emulator to make sure it works. Well, with the console, if one ROM works, then it will work for all the systems. So if you happen to have an NES, SNES, Nintendo 64, any other typical type of console game for that emulator, it will work and it will run. However, with arcade titles, you have different ROMs, different RomSets. You have different games that need CHD files, and if those aren't present, the game won't run. So Pi 3 presented a lot of problems. And so back in, I think it was August of last year, as soon as we had Supreme Beta 1, it gave me the opportunity to go through and create a ROM set for the Pi 4. I know only a couple of people have actually seen that ROM set because I never released it to the general public, but it was perfectly scraped and everything. But we're going to take a look at a few of the emulators here. We have Mame 2003 Plus. Mame 2015 we pretty much skipped. I know when I was first doing beta testing with the Pi 4, really wasn't needed anymore, as well as Mame 2010. That does work for a lot of the games. Also, Final Burn Alpha. Let me see if this one's installed. Obviously, you guys have Redream. We're not going to discuss that. But if you guys are interested in making your own image, typically when I create an image, Mame 2003 are good for games like Galaga, Galaxian, a lot of the older games. It's really easy to kind of figure it out once you are creating a set. So Mame 2003 is like for all the older games, like usually things before the 1984 time period. You know, you got games like Centipede, maybe Frogger, things like that. That core is really good for that. There's a number of ones. Let me see. I don't think they're even compiled on here, but I'll double check. Okay, all of them aren't even on here because they're pointless. All right. So typically, you also have Advanced MAME. You also have Advanced MAME 1.4. 1.4 is really good for light gun games, also for games like X-Men, the six-player ROM, and games of that sort. You also have, let's see here. There is another one called MAME. I believe it's MAME 2003 Midway. Those are good for some of the sports related titles, and also I believe for Killer Instinct as well. So that way you get better emulation for that. Or what really trips me out is I see a lot of guys out there doing reviews and talking about optimizations and what's not, perfectly set. However, if you understand your cores, I mean, all you have to do is make sure the ROM is associated with the right core, and voila, you get it fixed. So that's really not a optimization issue in the system. That's basically a misunderstanding with the user. So you also have, let's see, Final Burn Alpha. That's another arcade emulator. You typically really won't see that really installed anymore. When I first started testing it out, MAME 2016 was the first one I really wanted to start working with because it ran like crap on the Pi 3. And so one of the misconceptions is that with older arcade games, you don't need a lot of power to run arcade games, and that's really false. MAME 2016 and also MAME require a lot of power. This is one of the cores that the At Games community, the At Games Legends cabinet, because of their board, it cannot handle it. That's why I believe a lot of the guys who are in that group, they struggle trying to find a lot of the perfect ROM sets, is because that board is not capable of running these two particular emulators. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I wanted to do this review for you guys, is so you guys can see what you're getting yourselves into. With the Pi 4 being able to run MAME 2016 and MAME is the latest MAME version you can get right now. And honestly, I don't think, I stand to be corrected about this, but I don't think it even runs on PC. So as far as emulation, you will get games like Area 51 running. You will get games like Carnival. Carnival will run on the Pi 4. However, there is still some optimization that can be done there. But one of the problems that really plagues the arcade community is people running around trying to find ROM sets. And with these two emulators, you don't have that problem anymore. With light gun games or anything else, with running with MAME 2016 or MAME, you don't have to worry about ROM sets. They are also a power hog, which is why a lot of the underpowered boards cannot run it. I know with individuals who may have an arcade one-up cabinet, and I don't believe their boards are capable of running these two emulators, which is why they're limited in what they can license unless they really upgrade their boards. Is because they typically run MAME 2003, MAME 2010. You'll find a lot of companies using those because those are good, sets that you will find. However, with MAME 2016 and MAME, you don't have to worry about that. However, they do need a stronger board in order to run it. Mess is another get emulator. Another YouTuber reached out to me about another system that runs some particular games. I can't remember the name of it I think it's I can't remember the name of it, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. But this is the emulator you do need to run that particular set. He knows who he is, but there's a typical system that he's trying to get working, but you need this emulator right here in order to run it. Neo CD, I believe that might be the new name for Final Burn Alpha. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, because some of these have changed the names on some of these emulators. So that's another good emulator to have. Yahaboost is good for what station is that? Sega Saturn. And I will do a follow-up video on that. I'm not going to give that away. I did post about it, but that is a good emulator for that. But that is a console game. But you will hardly find any of this emulator running on any type of previous Pi unit because it is a memory hog. And I really think that's really about it as far as what I wanted to touch bases on. Of course, you do have Advanced Mame, you have Advanced Mame 1.4, you have Final Burn Alpha, you have Final Burn Neo 2012, you also have Mame 2010, you also have Midway. I think there's another version of Mame 2015. But honestly, guys, making the jump from the Pi 3 onto the Pi 4, these are really the only emulators you need. Now, you will get some better performance, I believe, even with Killer Instinct if you are running Mame 2003 Midway instead of just Mame 2003. But you play around with it, you guys can see what you guys can get. But for the most part, 95 to 98% of all arcade games will run with just these two emulators, and that is one of the key beneficiaries of, or benefits rather, of having a Pi 4. Besides everything else, I will be doing some more tutorials and reviews, keeping you guys updated about the current state of emulation that you guys can get on a RetroPie. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick review. Of course, you got OpenBoard here. Oh, before I forget, I did happen to pull up the additional list for all the other emulators that you guys can select, and I just wanted to kind of go over that. You do have Advanced Mame 0.94, Advanced Mame 1.4, Advanced Mame. These are all the versions of Final Burn Alpha 2012. This is the latest version of Final Burn Alpha here. FBN, Final Burn Neo, Final Burn Other Neo IR, Mame 2000. This is the one I was talking about as far as the one that should be able to optimize to run Killer Instinct a little bit better. Mame 2003 Midway, Mame 23, Mame 2003 Plus. I forget the specific reasons, but you guys can actually research these as far as finding out which emulators will run better. Obviously, you don't see Mame 2015 on here, but you also do have Mame for All. You got Mame 2010, Mame 2016, as you guys know that, you know, as I already stated, that's another one of my favorites. Mame and Mess and PI FBA. So these are the list of emulators that are available for the Pi 4 that can run all the way up to Mame. Again, this is the latest version of Mame right here, and Mame 2016. A lot of these will run even with Mame, even though you can run 95 to 98% of all the arcade games with Mame 2016 or Mame. Some of these may happen to give you better optimization. I know, for example, some of the sports games will run a little bit better, like Blitz, like Blitz or NBA Jam will run a little bit better with 2003 or 2003 Plus, and maybe even Midway too. But anyway, guys, catch you guys next time. Just wanted to add that on before I close out this video. You guys have a good night.